Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend review, reviewing all of this weekend's Premier League and Championship action. And we're going to start off with on Friday in the Premier League, and it finished Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 1. Arsenal were dominant in the first half, Partey and Aubameyang with the goals. Smith Rowe made it 3-0. Ramsey pulled one back in the 82nd minute, but yeah, in the end it was meaningless. Arsenal were back to their best after a bit of shaky run of form, but this was really concerning for Villa. Moving on, there was a right spanking at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea defeated Norwich 7-0. Just quickly run through the goal scorers: Mount, Hudson-Odoi, James, Chilwell, and then 2-0 from Mount. Gibson also got sent off. But yeah, Chelsea were dominant here. I know it's only Norwich, but boy oh boy, distance lay down a marker for the rest of the teams. But yeah, for Norwich, it's Chelsea away, but you really expect a better performance from that. It's just becoming a running theme now. Norwich ridiculously good in the Championship, but just dire in the Prem. But moving on, Southampton 2, Burnley 2 was the score at St Mary's. Cornet gave Burnley the lead in the 30th minute before Livramento and Brogiers gave Southampton a 2-0 lead, 2-1 lead, but Cornet equalised and got his second of the game. And yeah, the game ended a draw. I definitely think Burnley will be happier with the two sides. It's another solid point for them, but yeah, they need to find that win in the league. Southampton, this was definitely a winnable game. Moving on, it finished Leeds 1, Wolves 1 at Elland Road, and Wolves took the lead in the 10th minute, before a goal in the 94th minute from the spot from Rodrigo gave Leeds the point. Wolves will be incredibly frustrated not to see that out, but for Leeds, I guess I'll have to take the point. But yeah, it's not been an ideal start to the season for them, but yeah, they'll take the point here, but Wolves will be frustrated. Moving on, there was an incredible ending at Goodison Park as Everton lost 5-2 to Watford. Davies gave Everton a 1-0 lead before King equalised for Watford. Richarlison gave Everton the lead, and they looked okay before a late flurry from the 79th minute onwards. Goals from Kuchar, King again, and Dennis seeing the win for Watford. After what we saw from Watford last week, this was just a huge win for them. But for Everton, that is very concerning, collapsing against a bottom team like that. Moving on, it finished Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 1 at Selhurst Park. This was quite a close game. Palace indeed took the lead in the second half through Christian Benteke. Callum Wilson equalised 10 minutes later. But yeah, the teams shared a point. Palace were probably the best team here and probably deserve a win, but for Newcastle, it's every point counts at the moment. That's a great point to start off with under Graham Jones in the post-Steve Bruce era, so they'll be very happy with that, but I should imagine Palace will probably be frustrated. Moving on, Brighton 1, Man City 4 was the score at the Annex. Gundogan and a Foden brace gave City a 3-0 lead at half-time. McAllister then pulled one back for Brighton from the spot, but Mahrez right with almost his last kick of the game, sealing the win for Man City. And yes, this was City back to their best. You saw Chelsea winning 7-0, United winning 5-0, but yeah, you can't forget about City going to Brighton, being a good team this year and winning 4-1. Huge statements made by all of those teams. Moving on then to Sunday's action, and it finished West Ham 1, Tottenham 0 at the London Stadium. The only goal of the game coming in the 72nd minute from Mikel Antonio. And it was probably quite an even game, but if anything, I would say West Ham did slightly deserve it more. So yeah, they'll be very pleased with that. Tottenham, they were poor. That's 2 losses in a row now in all competitions. But for West Ham, we just keep on seeing how good they are, and they proved it once again here. But moving on, it finished Brentford 1, Leicester 2 at the Brentford Community Stadium. Yuri Tillemans with an absolute screamer in the 14th minute gave Leicester the lead, and then Jorgensen equalised for Brentford in the 60th minute before Maddison with the winner in the 73rd minute. Great to see him back on the score sheet. And yeah, that's a big win for Leicester. It finally does seem like they've turned the corner now, which is great news for them because they were struggling a bit. Brentford, that's 2 losses on the trot now. But yeah, against Chelsea and Leicester, I don't think there's any room for concern at the moment. But then Manchester United 0, Liverpool 5 was the score at Old Trafford. Just wow. Naby Keita, Diego Jota, Mo Salah, and with a hat-trick with the goals. Ronaldo did have a goal disallowed. Pogba was sent off. To be honest, this was just a disaster for United. Really embarrassing. To be honest, losing 5-0 at home to your rivals, I struggle to see how Ole
survives this. But the United board seems back in, so who knows. But yeah, Liverpool, just an absolute statement, just incredible. But moving on to the Championship, it finished Cardiff 0, Middlesbrough 2 at the Cardiff City Stadium in a game that marked the end for Mick McCarthy. Sopra from Sport gave Middlesbrough a lead, and then Piero scored, and yeah, that's a great result for Neil Warnock's men. Finally seems to be turning a corner now, but yeah, just wait until they get harder fixtures. But McCarthy, I do rate him as manager, but to be honest, it became clear that he had to go in recent times. Yeah, they just weren't performing. But moving on, it finished Birmingham 2, Swansea 1 at St Andrews. Troy Deeney with his first goal, I believe, for Birmingham in the 47th minute. Obafemi equalised in the 77th minute before McCree, 5 minutes later, sealed the win for Birmingham, and that's a huge win for them, because obviously we know how much they've been struggling recently, so that's a big win for them. As for Swansea, it really did look like they were picking up, so yeah, that's a big blow for them, but hopefully they can get back on their feet next Saturday in the Championship. But moving on, West Brom 3, Bristol City 0 was the score at the Hawthorns. Goals from Hugill, Bartley and Grant, and yeah, West Brom, they were dominant here really from start to finish. Looked in total control, back to their best under Valor and Ishmael. Bristol City were poor. I mean, it's not a game that you'd expect them to get anything from, but yeah, they were still poor, and I wonder if that embarrassing late defeat to Forest could have destroyed their confidence a wee bit. But moving on, Peterborough 2, QPR 1 was the score at the Peterborough Stadium, forgot the bloody name of it. Before Elias Chair gave QPR lead in the 50th minute, before Burrows and Dembele scored. Dembele with the goal in the stoppage time to give Peterborough a huge win. And that's 2 wins on the trot for Peterborough, so hopefully now they are looking like they're starting to turn a corner. But QPR, you keep on thinking they're going on a consistent run now, but it just doesn't seem to happen. That's a really, really bad result for them. And speaking of inconsistent, Stoke, after such a good run of form, then just lost their 3rd game in a row, this time away to Millwall. Swayers gave them the lead in the 20th minute before a brace from Tom Bradshaw in the second half gave Millwall the win. And what a great result that was for Millwall. Yeah, they're steadily finding a bit of form under Tony Mowbray, so they'll be very happy with that. Under Gary Rowett, so they'll be very happy with that. 4 wins from 5. But for Stoke, yeah, they kind of need the form to turn around quick. But moving on, it finished Luton 1, Hull 0 at Kenilworth Road. Another win for Luton, and yeah, they're on a pretty decent run at the moment. Adebayo with the only goal of the game in the 17th minute, and yeah, that's Luton unbeaten in 5 now, 3 wins and 2 draws. So they're looking good, but Hull, it's just really not clicking for them at the moment. And Grant McCann, I just don't see how much longer he can survive, because to be honest, it's really not going to plan at the moment. They're kind of getting cut as rocket a bit. But moving on, it finished Coventry 1, Derby 1 at the Ricoh Arena. Matty Gooden put Coventry ahead in the 20th minute from the spot, before Shinnie in the 78th minute gave Derby the equaliser, and that's another great point for Wayne Rooney's men. They're doing really well at the moment, considering everything that's going on. Yeah, Coventry definitely had better of the play, but Derby are just grinding out these results, and that's all they need to do if they want to catch back up to these people at the front of the relegation race. But moving on, Bournemouth 3, Huddersfield 0 was the score at the Vitality. Dominic Solanke with a brace in the first half, and then Kelly in the 64th minute sealed the win for Bournemouth. And yeah, Huddersfield, they were a good team, as we've seen coming into this. But yeah, they were just completely brushed aside by Bournemouth here. I think it just shows how good Bournemouth are this season, and how bloody hard they will be to stop. Because yeah, certainly they will be very hard to stop. They just look so good at the moment. But moving on, it was a derby, and Blackpool beat Preston 2-0. Goals coming from Anderson and Medine. And yeah, I think Blackpool, hopefully that Reading comeback gave them a bit of confidence, and it certainly seemed like it here. They were in control. Preston, they were really poor. I mean, I know they got a win last week, but yeah, they're just really struggling to grind out results on a consistent basis. It's not really clicking for them at the moment. But yeah, for Blackpool, it's a great win, and I think they'll take a lot of confidence winning these last 2 results. Moving on, it finished Blackburn 2, Reading 0 at Ewood Park. 2 second half goals in quick concession from Sam Gallagher and Tyrese Dolan. And Blackburn were the best team here, you'd probably have to say, at least in the second half. In the first half, it did seem quite even. But yeah, Blackburn probably just about deserved the win. But Reading, yeah, I think it's the opposite to that Blackpool game. That really bad collapse against them could have just destroyed the confidence. But Blackburn, it's a great win after a while. But moving on, it finished Barnsley 2, Sheffield United 3 at Oakwell. A great second half comeback from Barnsley after Moussa Brace and Osborne gave Sheffield United a 3-0 lead with 12 minutes to go. But Cole and Leia scored 2 and 4, and it left Sheffield United hanging on, but they just about held on to the win. If they could have got a draw here, I think that would have turned Barnsley's season around, but no, it wasn't to be, and a solid win for Sheffield United. And then moving on, it finished Forest 0, Fulham 4 at the City ground. An own goal from Spence, Mitrovic and Cabano, and another Mitrovic goal sealed the win for Fulham. And yeah, if you think about the form Forest have been in since Steve Cooper came in, it was ominous for the other teams to watch Fulham win this one 4-0. Just such a good performance. For Forest, I don't know, maybe it does mark the end of the honeymoon period for Steve Cooper. I hope it doesn't, but I kind of fear it does. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. If you want to link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel and subscribe right now. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.